What's up, guys? Dr. Kamea here. It's like 11:39. I got home. I was working dentistry today, and I just felt this urge to talk to my kids. So I kind of put on a little bit of a conversation around this whole idea of risk. And for those that know me, I'm definitely very practical and logical, but I have been described as a rebel or a risk taker. And honestly, I don't even know if I am. One of the biggest risks I've ever taken is around crypto. And recently, meaning like today, May 22nd, the US House approved a crypto bill called the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. A lot of support from Democrats, which is surprising because the crypto industry doesn't really get a lot of hate with people like Senator Warren, who are constantly beaking off about it. Anyway, the point is, one of the many big risks I've taken in my life is crypto. And for the last probably 2 to 3 years, it's been a rough bear market, like rough. Luckily, I'm not like invested where like my family's gonna be in poverty if it goes to zero. Like I took a calculated bet. I knew what I was getting myself into. And here we go. We get this bill and it's like things are working out. Like the US is waking up to the fact that you got to be competitive in this world, or else your businesses that bring tax dollars into your country go elsewhere. Could have something to do with the election. We highly suspect that. But it did get me thinking about this whole idea of risk. I don't even know if I like the word risk because it's been redefined in this world as something dangerous, bad. And you can tell because most people, when they hear it, they immediately go towards what they are told is the safe bet. But even right now, if you take a look at commercial real estate prices all across, even in San Francisco, like the prices are dropping like crazy. There's a lot of risk in holding these commercial properties right now. So this whole idea of risk has just been absolutely misunderstood. And it gets even worse when you think about it in the macro. When you think about global trends like AI, you're actually at a lot of risk and you don't even realize it. For real, the startup investing game has actually become more risky because if you're building a startup within the AI model that OpenAI or any of the others like Llama or Copilot are building, you are going to get eaten up in your company. Like, remember that flashlight app back when the iPhone first started? Yeah, that eventually just became part of the iPhone, like as a default. It wasn't even an app. It was just built in. The same thing will happen with AI, but like a lot faster. So there's a lot of risk no matter what you're involved in. But the things that we used to believe were like certainties, right? Like the American dream and buying a home and going to school and getting good grades. Like there's increasing risks to doing what you're told. And it's almost like I was born for this age because taking risks, it's exactly what I want to do. Exactly what I've always wanted to do. And it doesn't matter if the risk is like standing up to ideas that have been long held, sacred cows within your family. I took a risk marrying my wife, right? Like she was not immediately seen as like the ideal candidate for me. Took the risk anyway, paid off in spades, like in life, risk is seen as some like danger, but we're now getting into this part of civilization where if you don't take risks, you're at risk, if that makes sense. I think one of the biggest risks you can take nowadays is not to take any risks because what is being prescribed doesn't work. What is being sold isn't working as well as it used to. And so the more you double down on conventional knowledge, the more undifferentiated you're going to become in this world. And I think a lot of us kind of sit there and go, why is my life not like working out? Why am I not getting what I want? Why are things not happening for me? Well, you might be over-optimized in competing in the very rigid guidelines offered to you from a society that now you're in competition with everyone. So taking risks is to me almost becoming a necessity. And when I think about the risk taking in crypto, when I first got in about 2016, 2017, I mean, back then it really felt risky. The last 3 years, it felt a little less risky. And in the future, it'll probably feel even less risky. But the opportunity is always within that risk. You know, even when you take a look at purchasing a home to flip it for a profit, you're taking a risk that the foundation is going to be good. And while you can get, an inspection and mitigate all those risks, like it's still a risk. You just have no idea. Anything could happen, right? Everything in life. And there was a book that I was talking about previously that is all about placing bets. And one of the things I realized from that is that life is not chess, because in chess, you have a well-defined set of moves and you can only move here and your pieces can only move there. And there's only so many moves that can be made and everything is known, right? Your opponent's pieces are known, your pieces are known. When does that ever happen in real life? But life is more like poker. You actually don't know what's in the head of the person you're dating or the person that you're doing business with. You will always have to take these risks with unknowns. You'll have to do this even if you want to be an employee of a business, right? You're hoping that the CEO and the CFO are not fraudsters and that you're someday going to find out that they're bankrupt and then you lose your job. Everything you do in life is taking risk, whether you believe it or not. Even religious attempts, you are betting that your choice in religion is the right one. I mean, that's what you're betting on. You think that because I was born here, I'm making this bet and this is the one I'm going to bet on. And that has implications for you. You don't have all the information, but you place a bet. So no matter what we're talking about, right? Having children, you don't know the health of the child as it develops in the womb. You don't know what combination of diet, stress, medication, genetics is all going to play into the health of your baby. And yet you take that risk. And I could start to sense that my children might be trying to mitigate their risk too early. And so I had to sit them down and say, look, kids, I'm a little bit more established in my life, but I told them, you should take advantage of that. Like, you should be taking wild risks right now, because even if all of your ideas failed, even if everything you tried blew up in your face, you're good. Daddy's paying the bills. I am going to take care of you. You're always going to have a place to live. Food will be on the table. You should be taking maximum risk right now. This is not the time to play it safe, because as they get older, the risk curve does tend to decrease and you're willing to take less and less risk because other people depend on you. You can't take your newlywed pregnant wife and say, hey, by the way, I'm planning on starting something new. I'm quitting my job tomorrow and I'm just going to go chase this dream. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. Like, that is harder to do than if you're 15 or 13 or 17, you live at home and your parents got your back. Like, take all the risk you possibly can. And so I think about risk a lot, because one of the biggest risks I ever took was investing in crypto and investing in myself, like trying to start businesses, buying businesses without knowing what I was doing. And yet when I look back, those are the things that really moved the needle for my life. I could have played it safe. In fact, the first place I ever worked, the guy I worked with said, I thought you would work here for 10 years and then leave with $2 million in the bank and start your own practice. I left after 1 year and I definitely didn't have 2 million in the bank, but that risk ultimately changed everything for me. It's just something that I feel like, especially nowadays, you should be more than ever willing to try new things. It is really dangerous to not take a risk. It is really dangerous to not try something new, learn something new, experiment with something else. The risk isn't doing nothing. A lot of what I'm seeing in the statistics of life is that people are getting married less, they're having less kids. I actually think taking risks makes you more attractive. Now, I'm not talking about taking these, like putting your life in danger and being dumb and overdosing on drugs. I'm not talking about that kind of risk. I'm talking about trying to do something, right? Like really putting your heart and soul into an attempt to like shoot your shot and try to make something happen. I feel like that is an underrated, desirable trait that you'd be quite lucky to find in a partner. And I know there's always the safe bet, like for real. And if you made the safe bet and it worked out for you, like congrats. And so this is my late night thought. Like, it's almost midnight and here I am making content. Like, I have no clue where this goes from here, but I'm beginning to realize that even I'm not pushing hard enough. Even I am not taking big enough risks with what I have. Like, I feel like I should be risking even more, even with people depending on me. And so this is the place, this channel, this is where I'm going to be exploring that. Just remember what Zuckerberg said. The biggest risk is not taking any risk. The world is changing really quickly. The only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. I think he knows what he's talking about. So whatever you were planning on doing, if you were planning on starting that idea, kicking it off, making that call, pitching an idea, embrace the failure and just take the risk. What's the worst that can happen? The predictable life will always be waiting for you. All right, have a good night.